I wanted to know if the successful American blacks who were recipients of some kind of affirmative action, do they really care what other people say? Oh, you only got it because of affirmative action. And shouldn't we be teaching the children then that they shouldn't care either, because people are going to say all kind of negative things no matter what? And number three, like in college admissions, like you said, the 7% at Stanford, well, usually the 7% that get in, they're the best and the brightest anyway, and they have to compete with who's ever there, so it's not like they're getting the bottom of the barrel to come in. And what difference does it make? Because you have other students there also who are only there perhaps because of privilege in class. Maybe their father's a governor. They're not so bright, but they got in because their dad's a governor. So who cares what other people think?
Legacies are often used as, well, we have some people who get in because their parents went to school here, and so they're going to get a certain advantage. So what's the difference between that and blacks getting a preference to come to college here? Well, I'm not in favor of legacies either. I'm truly in favor of in a multiracial, multicultural society like this, fairness is we have to be obsessive about fairness and having people compete on the basis of merit. Otherwise, we're going to always have victims, and we're going to always have people who left out and who are discriminated against and who are angry. So I don't like legacies either, and I would be happy for the day when they're abolished. They're used because families like universities like to nurture families, like to have families associated with them because it's more profitable. They get more support that way, and so they're more reluctant to turn down a child of somebody who's been there. This caller believes in affirmative action. There's probably nothing I can do to talk her out of it. People believe they're just going to we'll go around and around and around. My feeling about affirmative action is simply, again, that you don't take a people who've been sat on for 4 centuries, who've not yet had an opportunity to show their real mettle, and then keep undermining them by taking, as she did say, the best and the brightest. The best and brightest black kids ought to be precisely the black kids that we ask to compete with the best white kids and the best Asian kids and so forth. They owe their race open competition with the best of other races. The truth of the matter is, you never get respect, whether you should or whether you don't, not until you claim equality under the law, but until you are in fact equal. That is the mission Black America is really on. We have to prove that we are in fact equal, that we can think as well as other people, that we can write and reason as well as other people. And we need to, with everything in us as a group, from the top of our leadership on down, throw ourselves into this competition. Competition is good. It's what makes you strong. One of my most serious outrages with affirmative action is that you take the very best and brightest black kids who have come from 6-figure incomes, 2-parent homes, with all of the advantages in life, the very best and brightest, and you say to these kids, you cannot compete. We will not allow you to compete with the best and brightest in other races. What an outright evil to deny them that opportunity. Those are the ones that ought to be competing. Well, that's an oppressive public policy that says just because you have the color of your skin, you can't compete. Now, what's interesting to me is that in those areas of life, people always talk about blacks in music and blacks in sports, and we do so well in these areas. One of the reasons we do well in these areas is because there is no white guilt. There is no one coming in and saying, oh, you poor kids, you can't compete. When you come out on the basketball court and you can't dribble, they talk about you like a dog. They send you home to your mama. It is brutal. They don't care if you came from a single-parent home. They don't care if you're on wealth. They don't care about any of those things. Can you dribble? Can you move the ball? Can you play this game at an extraordinarily high level? If you can't beat it, worry about your feelings somewhat. We don't care about your feelings. We care only about excellence. Well, when Black America takes something like that, saying a similar attitude toward intellectual rigor, toward academics, toward education, then then I think we will do as well in those areas. But when white guilt comes in and tells us that we're victimized and we need tells the best and the brightest blacks, the ones who've had every advantage, private schools, and says you can't compete. That's evil. There's no other word for it. To do that to a race of people is evil.
What do you think about historically black colleges? About 15 blocks from here is Howard University.
I think those universities began in an era of and thrived in the era of segregation and became in many cases very good, very solid educational institutions. And I personally wish them the very, very best. I'm all for them. I do not think they should go out of business. I think they should open their doors to everybody and focus on academic excellence. Again, race can't be a business in education anymore. Academic excellence has to be. And I wish those colleges the best, and many of them are doing exactly what I just said, are trying to bring in students of all kinds and focus on excellence.